happy birthday to me. Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I am going to be opening up some birthday presents that I got for myself. So I've taken and gotten myself 29 books for my 29th birthday that is coming up. So I've been slowly kind of purchasing these books over the last few months and wrapping them. So I have some here and then some over there off camera that you can't see that I'm just going to be unwrapping and trying to remember what I bought myself. Okay, before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more book videos. Okay, so I have 5 here, and then I have 6 here. Oh my gosh. So, like I said, so over the last few months or so, I've just been kind of like buying books off online and like in thrift stores and stuff, like whenever I see them, like books that I was interested in. So I'm just gonna start unwrapping them and trying to remember what I bought myself. Okay, so this one is heavy. I don't know what this is. Let's see. Oh, okay. So these ones are used ones, or secondhand. Okay, so we have 2 Nights in Lisbon. Okay, so this one is a thriller. It kind of like, I was interested in it. I think it was released, when was this released? 2022, so this one's actually really recent. So she wakes up and they're on like vacation and her husband's just gone and she realizes like she doesn't know anything about him. And yeah, so I was kind of interested in it and I was kind of excited because it was a new release, and I always get excited seeing new releases like just in a Goodwill where I'm just like, okay, I'll pay $2 for this new hardback book. Like, that's pretty cool. Okay, the next one I also got at Goodwill. This one is Dear Edward. I just realized there's like writing on the inside. I kind of like getting books secondhand and like if people have like marked in them like their thoughts and stuff, I kind of like that. I don't mind my books not being like pristine and like, I don't know. I like seeing like other people's thoughts when I'm reading through a book. Okay, so this one was released in 2020 and basically Edward is on a flight and the flight goes down and he survives. So basically it's just about like his journey. It's a coming of age story. So I thought the idea of the book was like really interesting, and that cover is pretty cool. This one's Inland. Again, super awesome cover. I feel like I got a lot with like really cool covers. This one was released in 2019. Oh yeah, this one. Okay, so this one is about like, so it's in the Arizona Territory in 1893, which usually I'm not into like historical type books. But I was interested because it was talking about like her son is like a former outlaw and he's haunted by like ghosts and he sees like lost souls, and it's about like a mysterious beast that's stalking the land around their home. So I was like, it sounds kind of spooky and sounds kind of like a little like ghostish. So I thought that was super interesting. So I don't know, I'm curious to give it a read. Stupid stickers make me so mad. Looks like somebody already tried to peel it off. I'll get it off. Okay, what's next? Let's do this boy. This feels like soft cover books. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, so 2 more that I got at thrift stores, obviously, because they're super banged up. Again, don't care. So this one is Anna Karenina. It's, you know, Barnes & Noble Classics. I have multiple that have like this spine for Barnes & Noble's Classics. So I'm kind of, that's why I wanted to get it, because it'll like match those on my shelf. Plus I've always wanted to read this one. Never gotten around to it before, but I've always wanted to. So there we go. And then this one, okay. So this one is We Need to Talk About Kevin. And when was this released? It's pretty old, I think. I have heard a lot about this one, kind of like in passing over the years. This is 2003, so it's pretty old. Okay, so how do I want to say this? So We Need to Talk About Kevin is basically about this mother who never really wanted to be a mother, and her son ends up being a school shooter, and it's basically it's kind of like things that happened after that, and kind of like the immense dislike that she has for her son and how that could have like affected what he did. It's very, very interesting to me. So I read probably back when I shouldn't have read it. I was probably too young to have read it, but I read a Jodi Picoult book about a similar situation about a child becoming like a school shooter, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'll pop it up. If I can remember it, I'll find it. But I read it when I was like probably too young to be reading that much of an adult book, but it had like a very, like, I still think about it to this day, and I still like, it still like takes up some mental real estate. It definitely had like an impact on me, the story did. So this one kind of reminds me of that. But I think it's very interesting, the aspect of the fact that she didn't want to be a mother and she kind of always hated him, and then it's just a thing. Very interested about this one. I feel like it's going to probably be a difficult read, but I'm curious by it. Okay, so this one's in an actual box. I got this one delivered. I think sure there's one in there, so let's see. Okay. Okay, probably shouldn't have chose like these super dull scissors to open these boxes. Okay. We may do. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm actually really excited about this one. Okay, so this is Tom Segura's I'd Like to Play Alone, Please. So if you don't know who Tom Segura is, he is a comedian, and he is my absolute favorite comedian. We actually just went and I've seen him multiple times live. We actually just went and saw him last month or 2 months ago. And it was obviously fabulous. I'm literally like in the audience, like literally crying because I'm laughing so hard. And like after we went to that, I bought this because I knew it had come out. But I hadn't bought it yet. But I saw him and I was just like, okay, I need to buy your book. So here we are. So this is basically just like a collection of stories from him. And I feel like I know it's going to be hilarious because I think that he is just so funny. And I'm very much looking forward to reading this. And I like that cover. And I like the title. I'd like to play alone, please. Oh, and I forgot. Okay, so I was doing 29 books for my 29th birthday. I forgot to mention I have 27 physical books here. I have 2 that I ordered that are not here yet. The first one is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Really excited to read that one, but it's on back order and it's not going to get here until like September. So still waiting on that one. So that one's not physically here, but super excited to read that one because like I was in like the group of people who kind of like grew up watching iCarly, and I just think that her story is going to be super interesting to read. So I'm very excited about that one. And then the second one that I have that's not here yet, because when I'm filming this, the book's not released yet. It gets released on August 23rd. It's Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. I was going to buy it anyway and read it because, you know, obviously I'm excited for it. But I figured like, oh, it'll also kind of be a little birthday treat. So I have 27 physical ones I'm opening, but those 2 aren't here, but they count. Okay. I'm actually so excited for this. Okay. What else do we have? Let's do this one. This one's a little funky looking. I think there's a small book on top. Got some good used books. Okay. Okay, so this one is a little I think a little erotica novel that I found in a Salvation Army. Tony Blake, The Red Diary, heart-stopping Tony Blake, The Red Diary, every secret desire. Tony Blake, The Red Diary, every secret desire she has will be fulfilled. And I was like, okay, let's see how it is. Yeah, it's a romance book, a little erotica book, published in, 2004. So we'll see. Okay, and then next, oh yeah, so we're going old school Christina Lauren with A Beautiful Bastard book. This was published back in like 2013, and I think it started as like fan fiction, I believe. I read their most recent release, Something Wilder, a couple of months back, and I really liked it. I had never read them before, so I saw this and I was kind of curious like how they were in the beginning with writing. So yeah, kind of curious about it, you know. It's gonna be a nice little smutty book, basically just like a workplace romance smut stuff. And then this one, so this one is super beat up, but I don't care. I was very excited to find this in the wild. I found this at Goodwill, and Drake was like, he's like, that copy is super beat up. He's like, you should not buy that. And I was like, I don't care. I can't believe that I found this just in a Goodwill. I was super surprised. So this one I've talked about before in my Kindle Unlimited videos. So this is a Kindle Unlimited book, and I was super excited to find this one because I actually really enjoyed this one. It super surprised me. It's The Idea of You, and basically it's reverse age gap. So the lady is 40 and the guy is like 20, and he's a boy band member, but it's not cringy, I swear. It's not fanficky. It feels like it could be fanficky, but I feel like it's written better than that. But it super surprised me, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. So I was super excited to find this just chilling on a shelf at Goodwill, and I didn't care how beat up it was because I was just very excited. Okay, we're dwindling down. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. Let's do another box. Sounds like there's just one in there. Oh, it looks, ugh. Okay. I was gonna say, so I like the cover, but I freaking hate how this is just on there. That makes me so mad. Okay, so this one is Remarkably Bright Creatures. So this one came out in 2020. I don't remember what month. A couple months ago. And I was actually, it seems very interesting. So she's a widow, but she also has a son that kind of disappeared. And she's working at an aquarium, and it says she becomes acquainted with Marcellus, a giant Pacific octopus living at the aquarium. So it sounds really interesting because I'm like, does the octopus talk? Or what? So basically the octopus is gonna help her figure out the mystery of her lost son, is how I understand it. Wow, that's some nice thick cardstock right there. That's interesting. Usually covers aren't like that. But yeah, so I thought it was a super interesting premise, and I am actually super, super curious to read this one. There's octopus tentacles on the pages. Okay. Yeah, buddy. Okay, so this one I actually got new, but it came with other stuff, so I didn't have it. I didn't keep it in its box. So this one is the Happy Ever After playlist. I love this book. This is one of my favorite little romance books. It's basically about a woman who is a widow who is dealing with moving on from the death of her fiance. and she meets this guy, and he's a singer, and it's just super cute and super sweet, and like it's a super like I love it. I think it's a joy to read. It's kind of like a comfort read for me. Yeah, really, really like this one. Okay, so this one is The Buried Giant. So I have another book. Ooh, the cover's kind of cool. I didn't notice that before. It's like shiny. So I have another book by this author, Never Let Me Go. It's up there somewhere. So I thought this was super interesting. So it's about this couple. They're going to go visit their son, but there's like this mist that's caused like amnesia across like the land, and so they can't remember anything about him, and they're joined by like a cast of like characters, and like slowly they start to like remember things about like their past and everything. I just thought it was super interesting, like the mass amnesia through the lands and everything. So yeah, I'm actually really curious by this one. It was released in 2015. Okay, what's next? This one. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This one I'm really excited. Like, look how beautiful that is. That nice little cover. Oh, these two I also got new. But again, they were packaged with other stuff that I wanted, not in the box, so I unpackaged them. So anyway, I really, really like this cover. I think it's super cool. So this was a July, I believe, Book of the Month pick, and I ended up picking something different, but it was one of the choices, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since I saw it on there, but I didn't want to get it through Book of the Month because I just kind of wanted like the nice basic cover. So I just decided to buy it separately instead of like an add-on or whatever. It's a story of like two friends who come together as creative partners in the world of video game design, where success brings them fame, joy, tragedy, duplicity, and ultimately a kind of immortality. So I think the book spans over like 30 years. And it's about like, you know, those two characters basically like just working together and like falling in love, all that stuff. So super interested in this one. And again, it's beautiful. Okay, so this is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I bought this on ebook, but I needed a physical copy for when the third comes out so that I can easily like flip through it and try and remember what happened. Because like, that's a chunk, and it's too difficult for me to kind of flip through an ebook to like find what I'm looking for, or to like kind of like remind myself what's happening, because you have to like tap, tap, tap and like move through chapters, and like I just find it so much easier to like just like go like that and find what I'm looking for to kind of like refresh my memory of what happened over these freaking like 800 pages. But I just realized, so I haven't actually like looked at this like up close. And the cover art's actually pretty cool, but then you open it, and it's like, whoa. Plus, I'll probably, when the third comes out, I'll probably buy the third. I have my little box set for Court of Thorns and Roses up there, so they'll be friends and they'll sit together, so just kind of needed a physical copy of it. And it was on sale on Amazon, I think. A lot of these ones that I got new, Amazon was doing like this buy two, get one half off, or buy one, get one half off or something. So I was like, okay, next. Oh yeah. Okay, so these books, I went to my local library, and my library has a permanent like little bookstore of books that they're like taking out of circulation that you can buy, and they're like $2 a piece. So I always like to like peruse and see, and then I always take off like the covers or whatever. But they always like rip out their like little tag thing. I don't know. They're both like that. Anyway, so this first one is Ithaca, and this is I hadn't heard of this author before, but this is a Greek mythology retelling about Odysseus and his son, and yeah. So really like Greek mythology retellings, so I figured that I would give it a shot. And then this one is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This is a thriller. I have not read any books by her before. This one was released in 2021. Yeah, I haven't read this one before, but basically I was kind of interested in it because I was like, I'm curious to see how she can make, if she can make this premise like interesting. So this girl and this guy they met at a campus ride share thing. And so they're driving back to their like hometown together. But the girl's best friend, so the girl's best friend was just murdered. And so there's like this campus killer. And so as the drive continues to go, like she thinks that this guy that she's ride sharing with is like the campus killer. And like, I'm just kind of like, yeah, probably. Like, my thing is like, why are you getting a ride with this rando, like, on the way back to, like, this really long drive, like, especially when there's a campus killer going around, like, that just seems like a bad idea. So, kind of curious to see, like, if this is even going to be an interesting read, or if the whole time you're just gonna be like, oh my gosh, main character, you're so stupid. Yeah, so even like this description in like the premise, the longer she sits in the passenger seat, the more Charlie notices there's something suspicious about Josh. From the holes in his story about his father to how he doesn't want her to see inside the trunk. That's a freaking red flag right there. So yeah, there's the question of, is he the killer? We'll see. Okay, so I only have 3 little packages left. Let's just go with this one. Oh, this was smaller than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so this one is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. So this came out earlier in 2022. And I think that cover is so freaking cool. I think it's so beautiful. I don't know why. When I went to buy this, I really thought that it was going to be like bigger. It's actually it's actually a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. How many pages is this? 320. Okay. So basically it's about like this village that sacrifices I think yearly people to the sea god. And so the main character throws herself into the water and she gets swept away into the spirit realm. And she finds a sea god and he's in this like enchanted sleep. Yeah, so basically it says Mina sets out to wake the sea god and bring an end to the killer storms once and for all. And so it sounded like the fantasy of it, I thought sounded so interesting. And I'm just super excited to read this one. I've had my eye on this for a long time, since it was released. Okay, and then this one I am very excited for. This is All Good People Here. This one was released in August of 2022. So this is by Ashley Flowers, and she is the host of the Crime Junkie podcast, which I really like. It's a true crime podcast, which I'm super into. And I did not realize that that she was going to be releasing a book. So basically it's about this murder that happened to this 6-year-old in this small town. The main character goes back to the town and basically just kind of about the mystery of what happened and everything. And I think she tries to solve it or something. But I'm actually very curious about this because the True Crime Junkie podcast, they had done a April Fool's episode that when my husband and I were listening to it, we didn't know it was an April Fool's episode. And they had created this elaborate murder mystery that they were telling the story of. And we were both hooked. We were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy. And at the end, they're just April Fools. And we were like, oh my gosh, it was super believable, the story that they had created. And so I was like, well, she's a good storyteller, so hopefully her book is good. I'm actually very excited. Oh, beautiful. Love that. Okay, we have 2 left. Oh yeah, okay. So These are 2 book of the month releases. I love when I find these at like Goodwills or thrift stores or whatever for like a couple bucks, because I'm like, oh hey, nice book of the month book that I didn't pick that I get, and they get to match all my other ones. So kind of excited about that. So this one was a June 2021 pick. I've heard mixed thoughts or mixed stuff about this one. So I figured for a couple bucks, I want to give it a read myself and see if I like it or not. Because I've either heard that it's really good or that it's fucking terrible. So I'm curious to see where I lie in that. So basically it's like, it says it's a spellbinding tale of psychological suspense, weaving together Greek mythology, murder, and obsession. So yeah, very curious to see how that one is. And then this one, Take My Hand. I think that cover is just so beautiful. This was a May 2022 release. So again, a couple of bucks for a release that was like a few months ago. That's pretty exciting to me. This one I think is actually based off of a true story, I think is what I found when I, inspired by true events and brimming with hope. Take My Hand is a stirring exploration of accountability and redemption. So it's about a lady who's out of nursing school, and it says it's a searing and compassionate new novel about a young Black nurse's shocking discovery and burning quest for justice in post-segregation Alabama. So it's based in 1973, and I thought it sounded super interesting, so I was very compelled by it, and like I said, beautiful cover. Oh my gosh, last one. Big boy. Okay, I think there's multiple books in this one. This is a box. Okay, they are packed in here. I don't even know how many are in here. Okay, it's like all these books. Okay, so these are definitely a part of the group that I got where Amazon was running their whole little thing where it's like, buy 1 or 2 or whatever, get the other one half off. So there's quite a few in here. Okay. So first, it's small. I love how, like, I know. I'll address that in a second. So I love how, like, I order these books and, like, because I read a lot on, like, my Kindle and stuff. And so I love how, like, when I get some of these books and I'm like, you're so much smaller than I thought you were gonna be. Like, this is, like, okay, so this is My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. And I've been wanting to read this. I just haven't gotten around to it. And it was a part of the deal through Amazon. So I was like, that's perfect. But it's, like, way tinier than I thought it was going to be. But that's okay. Oh, for this one, there was a different cover that originally was going to be done. So I wasn't going to buy it in physical copy because I hated the cover art. But then there was some like drama surrounding the cover art, and they changed it to this, which I think is way cuter. So I was a lot more happy buying the physical copy of this because I think that the cover art's a lot better. Basically, so this one's kind of like a murder mystery. It sounds like it's going to be just really like goofy and silly. This girl and her brother go on vacation and they find a dead body. And then this bounty hunter comes and he is trying to solve the crime, but that's not really what bounty hunters do. But we'll overlook that. But basically, it's just like a little romance book. They fall in love, I'm assuming, while they're trying to solve the mystery. This one, I'm a little irritated. Imagine that. There's this freaking, I hate it. Why do they do this? Okay, so this is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I love this book. It's a really great, like, fantasy about like this man that's like trapped in a labyrinth, but he doesn't like realize that he's trapped, and like it's very good. I think it's really well written, and like I still think about it. I read it last year, I don't remember, but I still like think about it. So I was really excited to have a hard cover copy of it. Like, I don't need you to put that on the cover of this book. It's not a sticker, so it's freaking stuck on there. And that just makes me so mad. Because I feel like it ruins the beautifulness of the cover. So, did not know that that was just imprinted on there when I bought this. But we'll deal. There are a lot more books in here than I thought there were going to be. Okay, so this one, I love this book. This is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. I do have to say this is probably one of my favorite romance books ever, and I read it on ebook, and I've been dying to have like a physical copy of it. It's basically about two fiancés that are living together, and they have grown to like resent and hate each other, and then basically you get to see them like fall back in love with each other, and I just think it's super good. It's a really funny book, and it's really heartwarming to me to like watch them fall back in love, and I think it shows the importance of like always working on your relationship. And so I just think it was really well done. Highly recommend this one. Oh yes, of course. So the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's one of those books that I feel like everybody's read and I haven't. And so I've been meaning to read it because everybody loves it, and but I have not read it. So I'm actually really curious to see if I am going to, like, if it lives up to the hype or not. Plus she has her other book, Carrie Soto is back, coming out at the end of August. So I'm like, if I like this one, then maybe I'll buy that one since it's in a release and read it. But I can't decide because it's about like a tennis player, and I don't really like tennis. But maybe I'll like how she writes, and maybe that'll get me to want to read it. Regardless, I'm excited to read this one, and I'm excited to see how I feel about it. Okay, so this one, so I just apparently need to just get over my hatred of like these printed things on these books, because like so many of them have it. So I just need to get over it. Okay, so this one is The Dead Romantics. I'm not totally sure if this is like a romance book, because it's about this lady who goes back to like her hometown, and then she finds a ghost and they become like friends, I think. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that works with him being a ghost. Don't think it's going to be, don't know how the, if it's a romance book, I'm not sure how the romance is going to work, but I thought that the idea of it was super cute, or very interesting, I guess. So I don't know, I'm excited about it. Okay. So this next one I bought for my 14-year-old self. It was a part of the deal on Amazon, and I saw it and I was like, okay, fine. Midnight Sun. I've talked about this before, I think. This is, if you don't know, this is Edward's point of view of Twilight, and I was obsessed with Twilight, the books, not the movies. I read the books way before the movies came out. I was obsessed with Twilight when I was a preteen, and so I felt like I had to buy this to go with my Twilight collection for my 14-year-old self, because she would have been very happy to have and read this book. I have read this book, and it was very interesting to read from Edward's point of view and to really see just kind of how like off he is. Wasn't really expecting that, I guess. Like, obviously, like, I'm not going to get into the whole Twilight thing. Like, obviously he's a bit off, but reading it from his point of view, it was just kind of like, ooh, there's something wrong with this guy. I mean, I do think the cover's pretty cool, and I'm just going to stick it with my Twilight shit, so. Okay, last one. Oh, wow, this is, like, packaged up. I kind of wish that okay, so this is the Crescent City House of Earth and Blood. So this is the first one to that other Sarah J. Maas book that I opened, which that one was a little banged up, and, like, the jacket was like cut. So I wish that one would have been like packaged up like this one. I've never gotten a book in the mail before and have it be like packaged like this before. But I kind of like it because it like protects it. Okay, so like I said with the other one, I wanted physical copies of this one because when the third comes out, I'm gonna buy it on physical instead of ebook. And I want a matching set of the original covers before they're unavailable to get. Whoa. And I did not know that the inside looked like that on this one either. That's pretty cool. Mainly just needed these 2 books for my shelf. So those are the 29 books that I bought myself for my 29th birthday. I am very excited to have this last year in my 20s. I'm actually really excited to turn 30 next year. Kind of ready to be done with my 20s and kind of move on. So I just, wanted to treat myself with this being my last year in my 20s. I don't know, I'm very excited. Very excited to see what this next year holds for me. So thanks so much for watching and spending your time with me today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and we'll see you next time. Bye!